If you'll recall, in the last episode of the Cougar project, we took an engine block that had been removed from the car because it was sticking valves, and because I knew that it was going to need some machine work, I went ahead, instead of waiting for the machinist to tear it down and inspect it, I decided I was going to take it apart myself. And upon taking it apart, I was very pleased to find out that, well, the crank was in pretty good shape, the block was in good shape, the bearings were barely worn, cam was only minorly worn, and that it wasn't going to take a whole lot for us to get this back on the road. I was going to need to get the parts cleaned and hot tanked and so forth. I was going to have the heads redone, the valves redone, but all that's pretty minor stuff. I figured, this is going to be pretty cheap. This is going to be a quick, easy rebuild. And I could even bump up the cam and give it a little bit more power. So the time came to take it to the machine shop. I'm going to go ahead and get it loaded up in my truck and take it to the machine shop and, get it all cleaned up and get the valves done and, have the machinist throw an eyeball on it. Well, turns out it was a good thing the machinist put his eyeball on it. So this video is just a quick update on where we stand with this project. Stick around. Somewhere in a dusty, dirty back alley in western Arizona, not far from historic Route 66, is an old fart trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. He'll work on anything, just as long as it's got at least 2 cool wheels. always go as we plan. Got a little bit of bad news. Well, it's terrible news is what it is. Turns out my engine block that I thought was so good and so nice and didn't need a whole lot of machine work and all that. I was just going to, throw some rings and bearings in it. It's cracked. Yeah, it's pretty much, if it wasn't so damn heavy, it'd make a good boat anchor. Let me show you. Oh, the best laid plans of mice, men, and mechanics. So it turns out, come on over here, you kitty girl. Well, all that rust we saw from the freeze plugs. We look right down here. We see some of that same flavor of rust oozing out of a place where there shouldn't be a place. And that's called a crack. Yeah, it's cracked there, and it's been weeping. And you can see another little crack starting to form there. I talked to the machinist. He said his experience has been that when they try to patch these or weld these, they might weld this area or something. And cast iron, well, it's not like welding plate steel. It doesn't weld well. And he says they'll typically break up here later. So now we got a new hunt. We've got to hunt down a usable engine block, or maybe just a used engine. It's just, back to the drawing board.